Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Thursday, March the 9th, 2023. Today I want to talk a bit about Harry and Meghan and perhaps Princess Diana. I know I've talked about them before, but I see that the news flow keeps coming. Some people are continually obsessed with them. I get the impression that the right-wing press in Britain and Australia, even the US, wants to bring them down. And, I'm beginning to feel a bit sorry for them. Is there nothing positive to say? Could one argue in some respects that Meghan is a martyr? A strange thing to say, but you could argue that. But I'll tell you why when I've discussed today's stars. So, what's going on? We're still feeling the effect of the full moon a couple of days ago. Full moons are about revealing something, understanding the truth, and I get the impression that many people are starting to understand the truth on many different levels. You can find the truth or realize the truth about the relationship you're in or the job you're doing. Society can see the truth for what it really is. You can start to see the lies. If someone has been telling you lies for a long time, the full moon is finally revealing it. Why this full moon? I suppose the moon was in Virgo, and that Virgo forces us to ask questions. We analyze what's going on and we realize, hold on, this whole thing is fake. We're being deceived. And that happens at every single level. And while all this is going on, the Saturn-Pluto midpoint is semi-square the Aries point. So Saturn and Pluto together are about incredible pressure. And the Aries point is about the world at large. People are under pressure everywhere. And I think today it's hitting maximum, but this is not just a one-day wonder. This is what's going to be happening this week. We're realizing that something has to give. So whatever country you're in, whatever family you're in, whatever group you're in, something has to give. On perhaps a lighter level, the moon continues to move through Libra. Nice sign, Libra. Moon is all about balance, as I said yesterday. But the moon is making an opposition aspect to Jupiter. Now, you might think moon opposition Jupiter is fortunate, but it is an opposition. 17th century astrologer William Lilly, I believe he said something like, a square is perfect enmity and an opposition is perfect hatred. I'm not really saying it's all about hatred, but Moon and Jupiter opposition is about exaggeration. It's about taking things too far. Maybe eating too much, spending too much, overindulging ourselves, or perhaps being too sympathetic to other people's overindulgence. So if you see someone spending too much money, or eating too much, or smoking too much, or smoking at all, you're not supposed to smoke anything, are you? You don't have to join in. You can even be a bit critical, but of course with Moon in Libra, you're likely to say, well, I don't want to cause a fuss, I'll just say nothing. But sometimes saying nothing is almost as bad as getting involved. By saying nothing, you are morally responsible. So do remember that. Now, as far as Meghan and Harry are concerned, I've been looking at their chart again, and I've been thinking about Meghan, and the powerhouse of Meghan Markle is arguably her Sun in Leo on the Venus-Mars midpoint. Leo is a great sign for the is a great sign for the Sun to be in. I would have thought that she thought that with the right moves, everything was going to be fine. She'd find the right man, and she'd be a star. And that was probably even before Harry came along. That was her view of the matter. And then she came across Harry. Harry, who has now been emoting sort of non-stop, and Harry has got Saturn very close to his midheaven. Now, in Western astrology, the midheaven is connected with the mother. And so if you've got Saturn conjunct your midheaven, you may be really concerned with your mother, and it's not going to go away, particularly if that Saturn is opposition your moon. Okay, it's quite a wide opposition, but he's got moon in Taurus, Saturn in Scorpio. There's a mother issue there. Now, you might be thinking it's all about the fact that his mother was killed, that he might be blaming the press. But I think it's more than that. I've been thinking that maybe it's about who his mother was. I mean, Diana had her own problems, and Harry was living essentially in a dysfunctional family. Both his parents were having affairs. And I suppose the younger son was probably having a lot of emotional stuff dumped on him. And even if his mother hadn't have been killed, there'd still be a load of problems relating to his mother. So maybe it's not about just about the death. And then this Saturn, as I've said before, is exactly square Meghan's sun. Now, in astrology, there's something called synastry. Syn, Greek, mean with, astrology, the stars. It's how two horoscopes relate to each other. And so you've got Meghan's sun is being squared by Harry's Saturn. So the Saturn is like all of Harry's problems, all of Harry's emotional issues. The fact that he's been carrying his mother around with him for ages and ages, she just won't go away. So that clashes with Meghan's sun. She's realizing that she can't express herself in the way she would like to express herself, because she's always got to deal with Harry and his mother, as expressed by Saturn. And maybe with this full moon, she's beginning to realize it. I mean, I'm not saying that this full moon affects her directly, but this is a time of realization that her creativity and her zest for life, in many respects, may be stifled by Harry and the emotional baggage that he's carrying around with him. And she was probably the wrong person to be dealing with someone like Harry. I mean, if you look at the traditional planets that Harry and Meghan have, there aren't many planets in water signs. They're not. I mean, there's a bit, but there's not a great deal there. They're not a couple that are very sensitive to what's going on. It's not as bad as Zelensky, as I was talking about yesterday, who has no water at all. But I don't think they really have a really proper feel for what's going on in the world and the changes we're experiencing. And I talked about Saturn going into Pisces yesterday. And in a way, Harry is perfectly symbolizes Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is all about emoting in a way that is mud-like. Mud. Water is emotional, but it's just mud, pools of dark water just stagnating under a grey sky. And I'm thinking there of the tarot card Eight of Cups, which Aleister Crowley described as being indolence. I'm not saying that Harry is indolent, but I think he has to be careful there. I think this, but as for Meghan, she has really martyred herself, perhaps, by having to put up with Harry. And it's not a situation that she's very easily going to extricate herself from. So I think we need to be careful about being overly critical of the couple. I mean, this whole problem has been caused by the royal family and its dysfunctionality. And, Harry is just collateral damage from what was going on decades ago in the royal family, and perhaps the whole tradition of infidelity and affairs and mistresses, which was part of royal life and maybe Princess Diana didn't really understand. Anyway, I've been rambling for long enough, and I will see you tomorrow on Friday.